a really interesting study that watched brains sync in real time while people form more extreme views in real life in the laboratory setting. Here's what they did. Today, we're seeing more political and ideological polarization in our world. One big reason is that the internet makes it so easy to find your own community of like-minded people. They agree with you, they support you, they validate your worldview, that you don't need to challenge each other's viewpoints. And these in-groups form as they talk to each other with people that they agree with. Their views can even become more extreme over time. It's a classic group polarization, like an echo chamber. I read a really interesting study that watched brains sync in real time while people form more extreme views in real life in the laboratory setting. Here's what they did. Participants were randomly assigned and they were put into groups of 4. They rated their opinions on some moral dilemmas like the trolley scenario, similar to that. And then they discussed them face to face while their brain activity was being recorded. Afterward, they also rated their opinions again. So obviously, no surprise when people who already agreed on whatever opinions that they had were grouped together, what they called homogenous groups, they shifted to more extreme positions after the discussion. A classic groupthink happening right now, right? But mixed groups, or what they called heterogeneous groups, shifted less. So yes, homogeneity of opinions in a group tracks with extremism. Now there's a twist. What happens to the interbrain synchrony? You might expect that the people who agree with each other will have higher synchrony in homogeneous groups, right? But what the study found is the opposite pattern matters. The link between homogeneity and extremism was strongest when the synchrony was the lowest, not highest. Specifically in the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or DLPFC. When there was more left DLPFC brain-to-brain synchrony happening, it buffered the echo chamber effect. And this is fascinating. Why the DLPFC? This region is what helps with cognitive control and mental flexibility. And this is what allows you to switch between perspectives, your thought processes, and you can be more adaptive in response to other people's opinions. And so stronger function here in this region supports your adaptive thinking. Damage to these regions has been linked to greater dogmatism, fundamentalism, and so keeping these control systems in check and engaged matters. So the key takeaway is that greater interbrain synchrony in the left DLPFC seems to have protective effect against extremist shifts during in-group discussions. That's relevant for our teamwork in a workplace. We want creative problem solving, creative thinking happening in our team without becoming an echo chamber that really blocks our critical thinking skills and critical feedback that is going to improve our ideas, not diminish it. So how do you increase the interbrain synchrony in this region? Cooperation and collaboration. So thinking about building challenges together, Jenga, puzzles together, drawing together, singing together. Any shared tasks really help you readily boost the activity synchronization between the regions. And something that's so simple but may not actually be as obvious is making eye contact. It's so important for somebody to make eye contact with you when they're listening to that person. So make eye contact, and it's such a great, efficient way to increase your synchrony among the team members while they're discussing shared tasks. And funny enough, this gaze effect is actually effective just even across the screens. So the pseudo gaze meeting on Zoom, you can do this and still boost the effect of synchrony. So I can imagine doing this at work, like before going into a heated meeting or something that could be potentially tricky, do a 2-minute cooperative warm-up, right? Maybe you do a tiny structure building exercise, you do a quick pattern together, tracing, or maybe you can do a rhythmic music singing, right? Making real eye contact. The goal is to get the DLPFC synchrony as efficiently as effectively as possible so that you can actually protect your group from becoming more extremist in terms of the ideas that you generate.